This video is sponsored by Squarespace. The Galaxy Note 10 Plus is a flagship phone. That means that Samsung has taken all of their best features and crammed it all into one phone, no compromises. One of the things it literally crams into this phone is the S Pen, and that's why I wanted to check it out. Hello, my name is Brad, and I review tech for creative professionals. Illustrators, designers, that guy who spray painted a duck on the side of the Holiday Inn by my house. Keep practicing, buddy! I'm interested in what the Galaxy Note 10 Plus is like to draw on. How are the new video and photo features, the overall user experience, stuff like that. So, if I don't talk about how many nits are infesting the AMOLED display or how it's powered by snapping dragons, it's not that I don't know that stuff, it's that I don't care. What I do care about is how this phone works. Out of the box, the phone looks great. Comes with a charger, cable for the charger, some extra nibs for the S Pen, a USB-C adapter, and a set of headphones that plug directly into the USB-C port along the bottom of the phone. This is the first Note that doesn't have a headphone jack, so there has been a fair amount of noise around this. Probably because it was Samsung who was slamming Apple a couple years back for doing the same exact thing. Me personally, I'm on team meh. It is what it is. I got the Aura Glow color, which is a mirror-like color reflecting surface that Samsung has been putting in all its promotional videos and photos. And yes, the rumors are true, the back collects fingerprints the way I collect old cords. There are 2 more boxes of these in the basement. This is my first experience with a screen that wraps around the edges, so seeing it up close like this makes the screen feel a lot wider than many of the other phones that I've used. It's a neat effect. And I should also point out, I've never been a fan of notches. Hey, it's not you, Apple, it's me. Well, maybe it's you. I think the hole punch on the Note 10 is a good compromise. If you're going to be putting it somewhere, just make it as small as you can. I also like that it's centered. The Galaxy S10 that came out earlier this year has it more off to the side. This is a more balanced look. So I like the design of the phone. My only quibble with the design is that the chin is slightly taller than the head. Just slightly, just a little bit. I wish they were the same height. Even if that meant making the head just a little bit taller, I wish it was symmetrical. That's the designer in me talking. Years of nudging up something 1 pixel so it lines with the element next to it. That's my jam, man. Now, I thought the rainbow back might be a little bit much, but it's more subtle in real life than it appears in videos and photos. The more light that hits the back of this thing, the more cool color effects you're gonna get out of it. The big overhead light I use for product shots really enhance the rainbowing. You're ruining everything, Steve. Yeah, I know. I name all my gear. The 10 Plus's name is Kanye because it's always interrupting me. I'm still fine-tuning the notifications. The cameras are great. I don't know if this is the best camera on a phone out there, probably not, but it is dang good. And if you're upgrading from a phone from like 3 or 4 years ago, you are gonna be blown away by how far phone cameras have come. The nighttime and low light photos are just downright fun to take. When you're setting up for those nighttime shots, you do have to hold still for a couple seconds while the camera is pulling in as much information as it can. But the results really impressed me. I thought they might kind of be blurry if I shook too much, but no, they look good. Disclaimer, I am not a professional photographer by any stretch of the imagination. I don't really even enjoy photography, but here I find myself looking for excuses to take pictures. It's fun. I was taking pictures of sunsets that actually looked like sunsets. You know what I'm talking about, where you take a picture of a sunset and you're like, that looks nothing like the sky. Video got a good boost with this release too. The rear cameras let you take video that's up to 4K, and one of the new features Samsung's been hyping is video stabilization. To test it out, I went running into a flock of seagulls, which is a really good idea until it wasn't. No. And in my time with the camera, just kind of doing some product shots and things like that, I'm pretty happy with the results that I'm getting. They've also added this bokeh effect to video that blurs the background a little bit. I've seen this on phone cameras before, but I've never played around with it in video mode before. As you get more intense, it can look a little fakey here and there, but adding just a little bit of blur in a video looks pretty tight. I mentioned the false touches a little bit earlier. I think where I noticed them the most is when I was taking photos. I would go to zoom in a little bit and it just wouldn't work, and then I'd realize, oh, my thumb, it's on the edge of the screen. I am getting a case for this thing, which should cut down on that, but that doesn't arrive for another 2 weeks. So wish me luck in the meantime, because Butter McSlickfingers does not have a good track record with glass phones. Just ask Nicolas Cage. I'm gonna be using this phone to create things that I want to show off to the world, and the most professional way to do that is to have your own website. Today's sponsor, Squarespace, will help you do exactly that. I took it for a spin and built a portfolio to showcase my illustration work. They have some really nice templates. They're just easy to customize. Portfolio templates, e-commerce templates, blog templates. That's just scratching the surface. All of these templates are a great starting point for whatever you want to create. And as a former web designer, I like to fiddle. So I like that I could jump in and get really granular with the design. If you're showing off your work to potential clients or you're looking to land a full-time job, these templates look really professional. And if you want to take your website to the next level, you can set up your own domain or transfer one you already have. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/BradColbo to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Samsung uses Wacom's tech under the hood for all their styluses. This is a good thing. It means that you're getting a really good drawing stylus. No crazy line jitter, no funky pen pressure glitches. It's just a solid, well-performing pen. How does it compare to the Apple Pencil? Shockingly well. Actually, to anybody who's been looking at pen tech for a while, this is not shocking at all. We all knew that Wacom was good, and that carries on here as well. One area where Wacom's tech doesn't stand up quite as well to the Apple Pencil is in palm rejection. It works, but not as well. I do get the occasional palm marks on my canvas when I'm drawing. Since the phone is a pretty small drawing area to begin with, that doesn't happen as much as it does on, say, a tablet. The phone is just too small to actually rest my palm on. I don't like drawing on slick glass that much, and that's what you're doing here. It's harder to get straighter lines. The S Pen tries to offset this with a soft rubbery tip, and that does help. I think this is just the way it has to be. I would prefer to have a phone with a slick, nice glass screen as opposed to a matte finish screen. Even though that matte finished screen would feel better to draw on. A matte protector makes sense for my iPad because I spend half my time on my iPad drawing. On my phone, maybe 5% of my time is going to be spent drawing, and the other 95% of my time is going to be spent farting around on the internet. So a smooth glass screen it is. What makes the S Pen special is that in recent years they've been adding Bluetooth features, and this year they've added even more. The ability to use the S Pen as a camera remote returns again this year. They've also popped an accelerometer, forget it. There's a thing that tells what angle your pen's at, okay? Accelerometer. Did I get it right? Oh, I get a cookie. I'm getting a cookie. The accelerometer thingamadoo opens up a whole world of motion controls. You can control the picture gallery, turn volume up and down, flip between the front and back cameras on the phone. You twist the stylus to zoom in and out on the camera. If you're controlling your phone remotely, these are nice to have, but if you're controlling the phone right in front of you, it takes a second, half a second to actually register these motions. And you can't just do little motions, you gotta swing the thing like a tennis racket. If the phone is sitting in your hand, it's just gonna be easier to swipe or tap on it. When you pull the S Pen out, a bunch of pen-centric options pop up on the screen. Taking notes, drawing on screenshots, the new AR pen features. I'm mostly interested in drawing, so fortunately, I can turn these pop-ups off in the settings. One thing I've always said whenever I compare an Android tablet to the iPad is that the iPad's app ecosystem is so much stronger. But when we take that to the phone, my opinions here change quite a bit. We're still using the same apps on Android, but the iPhone is not that much fun to draw on. From a hardware standpoint, the Note doesn't have much competition and has none on the iPhone side of things. So here is a list of my favorite Android drawing tablets as of September 2019. Number 1 is Artflow, currently at the top of my list. You can download it for free, but it has in-app purchases. Number 2, Affinity Painter. This is probably second. Used to be number 1, but Artflow has overtaken it with some of their most recent updates, but it's still pretty darn good. Number 3, Autodesk Sketchbook. Old faithful, a great app, works on multiple platforms. It's not my personal favorite, but still is rock solid. A lot of people love it. Number 4, Medibang. Can do everything and you can download it anywhere. Great little open source app, totally free. iBez Paint X, a fan favorite, worthy of being on this list. There's some nice inking tools here. There's a lot of brushes. If you watch an ad, you can unlock them, use them for 18 hours, or you can pay and unlock the whole app. Any one of these apps can make great art, and drawing with the S Pen is pretty good. The one downside being that the glass screen is so smooth that I had a hard time getting really straight lines. I will say that the S Pen itself is pretty skinny. I mean, it has to fit in the phone, so of course it is. It can be hard on your hand if you plan on sitting down and drawing for an extended period of time. But for short bursts or some practice, when you have a couple of minutes to kill here and there, it is great. The other cool thing about the S Pen is there's a bunch of them out there, not just these skinny ones that come with the phones. The wider ones that comes with the tabs, much more comfortable to hold. Those work great here. Won't fit in your phone, of course, unless you really are dedicated to getting it in there, but it's much more comfortable for those longer drawing sessions. One catch is when the S Pen is inside your phone, other styluses will not work on the screen, but like most things on this phone, there is a setting that lets you toggle that off and allows you to keep the S Pen in your phone and draw with another stylus at the same time. One thing, it does warn you, this causes a fair amount of battery drain, so just so you know, might want to toggle it off when you're not using it. All right, we're on to the lightning round. So much to talk about, so little time. Fast charging, it's a thing. Conductive charging, not as fast, but it's a thing. I got a pair of Galaxy Buds, only to learn they're not an exotic flower, but a pair of wireless headphones. They can charge while sitting on top of the phone. I thought that was pretty cool. Sound quality wise, they're kind of meh, but they work. Bixby sounds like the name of a dog. Also, some reviewers have noted that the on-off button is toggled to Bixby by default. Sounds like Samsung changed that before they started shipping phones, because mine is not. Fingerprint reader, it's under the glass, it's super fast. That rhymed. Haptic feedback, one of those little things, but it's a user experience thing, and when you get it right, and they did, it feels so good. Ooh, another thing, when you write a note, it has a paper scratching sound. I want that on every drawing app ever going forward. Most of the pros, I think up to this point, I've covered. This is a great phone. And I would say my least favorite part of the phone, and something I haven't really covered up to this point, was Samsung's software. I got spoiled last year. The Pixel SL running bare bones Android. Turns out I love just basic Android without anything laying on top of it. First you get this beautiful phone and you turn it on and it's like Samsung everything, all the apps, all the icons. It's not hard to change, but most of these apps are mediocre at best. And the crazy thing is that the apps they're making are competing head to head with Google, and they're competing with Google in things that Google does ridiculously well. It would be one thing if Samsung was improving on Android in some way, shape, or form, but they're not. Samsung Cloud, Samsung Pay, Samsung Internet, Bixby, Samsung's photo gallery app. There are 4 email apps installed on this phone. Samsung Email, Gmail, Microsoft Outlook, and let me check my notes here, Yahoo Mail. And all the icons for these look like something you'd find on a free font website. You know, the fonts that come with free spyware. My point is I'm coming at this from the point of view of a user experience designer. And when I first set up an iPhone, or I first set up a Google Pixel phone, I'm just blown away by the experience from beginning to end, but my first impression when I toggle on this phone is meh. The phone leaves an amazing second impression. It's that first impression that they really kind of screw up. There are a couple exceptions. The Notes app, some of the software they have built in to take advantage of the pen. Things that take advantage of their specific hardware tend to be pretty good. Anything that they're creating just to replicate what Android's already doing, what Google's already doing, not so much. At the end of the day, all that is nitpicking. Like I said, this is a phenomenal phone. Once you take the time to set it up, it is great from head to toe. Video, photo, drawing experience, everything that I have ever wanted in a phone. I'd wish Apple would make something like this. They probably never will, but until then, I'm gonna really enjoy using this phone over the next couple years. If you have any comments or questions, let me know down below in the comments section. Also, like, subscribe, you made it to the end of the video, you might as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in a couple of days.